All right. Testing, testing, testing. Do we hear any echoes around here?
No.
Anything at all?
No.
Everything's clear?
Yep.
All right, and so we're in the clear now. So before we just start the introduction, I just want to say to everyone, I do apologize. We had some echo / technical difficulties in the first live stream. So again, I do apologize, everybody, to stopping that previous live stream and basically creating a new one. So I do hope that this time we're gonna have no defects on this one, So without any further ado, let's start from scratch. How the Mickey Mouse impression. Okay.
Mickey Mouse impression.
What? You ain't like this? Oh, that's what you want to hear, huh? Yeah. Fine. If you want me to talk like a shitty Mickey Mouse, okay, then let's do it. All right. Hello, everybody. I'm Lord of Shadows, doing my shitty Mickey Mouse impression. Welcome to the Shadow Console episode 17. And just by that, you kind of know we're going with this. The Disney Animation World. And I'm going to stop because I'm going to lose my voice. Yeah. Don't worry. The tragedy is over, my friend. The tragedy is over. You can stop. You can, reveal your face now, But anyway, like always, welcome to another Shadow Console episode. And I'm here with my mates and favorite council members. Well, I'm waiting. Are you not going to introduce yourselves or what?
We could just drag this on throughout the whole stream. Film Review Central here. Thank you very much, Al, for having me here. As always, a pleasure and an honor it is to see your lovely face, sir.
Wonderful. And Q?
Oh boy, I'm excited to talk
to you. Gosh, we have a lot of different voiceover here. Yeah. All right. Without any further ado, yes, you all have guessed it. We're doing Disney animation this time. Now, the rules are simple. We're going to talk about Disney, which comes to Disney anime movies and TV shows, which means no Pixar, no Lucasfilm, no National Geographic, no Marvel, nothing, like zero, zilch, anything that from classic Disney that Disney already plays. So from here on out is Disney classic all the way.
I can't wait.
TV shows otherwise.
Thank God you clarified that National Geographic is not in there, because I don't know how I'd ever make links between National Geographic and like Zootopia or something like that. Like, how am I supposed to make links to that? But yes, very well cleared up.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Anyway, now I have a question for you two. Now, this is going to be maybe quite a challenge for all of you. Well, for the two of you, actually. Now, my question to you guys is this. What was your first ever, as introduction to Disney, movie and TV show you watched? The minefield is yours.
I mean, the first movie I can remember in terms of like chronological or like release order, I'd say is the Jungle Book, 1967's The Jungle Book, which is just such a Disney classic animation. But I would say in terms of like watching it in the cinema, I mean, Big Hero 6 was a big one for me. I watched that I was like the perfect age to watch that film and just like loved and enjoyed it. And then I think Zootopia is a great film. I watched that. Wreck-It Ralph is another one that I like, was the perfect age for. So I feel like, you see that. But I used to be a big fan of like Disney Channel type of stuff. So the animated stuff like Phineas and Ferb, like, which is actually coming back. Like, I can't believe that is actually that.
Yeah, I've seen the poster.
Back. Yeah, on Disney Plus. So that was my type of Perry the Platypus was as cool as it's James Bond and Perry the Platypus for me is like top spies in movie and TV show. So for me a wide range of stuff, but I feel like with Disney you kind of connect your childhood and the era in which you grew up, like watching media, to kind of like memories. And I think that's what's the power of Disney in a lot of people's lives. So yeah, that would definitely be mine.
Okay, so let me get this straight. Your very first introduction in movies was The Jungle Book.
Yeah, in terms of like classic Disney
Okay.
animation release. But first time in this first film in the cinema was Big Hero 6, and I still love that film. I still love that film to this day. I think it's great.
I mean, yeah, it's definitely one of the greatest. But and from TV shows, otherwise,
Phineas
was
and
your
Ferb.
first?
That was a big one. Phineas and Ferb for me.
Wow. Okie dokie. And TK, now to you.
Okay. Movie, I think.
Remember, like first ever introduction, not like theater experience. But you can add it if you want to.
Let me think.
No problem.
TV show. I'm going to start with the TV show because I know that. I think that would have been. Oh boy, I think that would have been Timon and Pumbaa.
Nice.
And then movie. I think in the cinema would have been. I'm either going to say Hercules or Mulan. Probably Hercules in the cinema. Then just in general for movies, I'd say. Maybe Aladdin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, I'll go with that. Yeah.
Okay, then. Okay. Now, when it comes to me, well, for the movies, like my very first ever introduction to Disney, and I'll even go as far as saying my introduction to animation in general. And we're gonna have to go way, way back in the past, the time where all three of us were not even farts. Like, let's go back to the good old 1937, and which means I'm talking about Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs.
Ooh.
That was my very first Disney introduction, which, again, it's the very first anime movie they did, like in the theaters. So that was my very first introduction when it comes to the Disney world. Like when it comes to movies, I used to watch on the Italian dub before I was introduced to the original, like English and everything. So that's for me is the movie. Now theatrically, I will also add it as FRC and TK also did. I will add I will add like the farthest I can remember. Now my parents always say like the very first one I watched was The Lion King, but I couldn't remember shit about that because like I was like extremely very young, if we have ever saw it. But if I have to go all the way back in the past, I would say my theatrical experience would have been I'm going with Lilo and Stitch.
Oh,
that was the farthest I can remember my Disney experience in the theater has to be Lilo and Stitch. Definitely.
What was that? What was that? Early 2000s, 2002?
Oh yeah, yeah. I think like
it's
2002.
Not 90s.
No. It's 2002, 2003. I think. I'm not quite sure, but it was like at the beginning. So that's the farthest I can remember when it comes to my theater experience. Now, when it comes to TV shows, like let me put it this way. I don't know if you're gonna get it immediately. But like, I am the terror of the night. I am Darkwing Duck.
Yeah.
Darkwing Duck was my Disney anime TV show that I was firstly introduced to. And then later on, and the others and everything. It was like, yeah. I mean, like it was all thankfully because my mother used to tape different anime TV shows and movies that you find on TV. And the first Disney thing she ever did was Darkwing Duck for me when I was little. And so that was kind of like my introduction in the Disney TV world. Let's put it that way, Now, of course, we can go, now the one thing will definitely is that we're going to go all over the place, or we can go alphabetically through the movies, which of course will be here until dawn. If we go all the way, if we go all the way deep and everything, So let me make this more interesting. Now, if you have to choose, now this is a difficult one, but I want to hear your answers for this. If you have to choose, which Disney anime movie would you put as your number one on your top 10 list? So who will be your numero uno, number one?
Oh God,
I know it's a tough
that
one.
is hard. It is a tough one. I mean, you can't go wrong with the technical quality. I mean this generally. The technical quality of The Lion King. What that movie did, not only as an animation but also as a film, I think was incredible. I think recently I think Disney have been under scrutiny with their Walt Disney stuff. But I definitely think they've had some real great gems. I think Moana was so beautifully animated, so clean animation. And was a really great story overall. I like Zootopia, the fun comedic world of that whole film. Big Hero 6 we just mentioned, but I would say you can't go wrong with The Lion King. What that movie did for animation in general, what it did, it grew more than just a movie. You see the impact, the cultural impact, the historical impact of that film. I think I know I'm using other things to kind of give my answer, but yeah, it has to be a great movie. You don't have that impact without it being a great film, and it's such a beautiful movie. I still to this day find people that have not watched that film and I went, just watch it, and it captivates you from minute one, and I would definitely say that one's to the top of my list.
Okay, so basically The Lion King will be your number one.
Yeah, 1994's The Lion King. And also as well, may I just say, you look at what they're doing at the moment with the live action stuff, which I know that's not what we're focusing on here, but what I'm saying is you look at all the live action stuff and they're trying to change it up. The Lion King carbon copy. You've got to respect the original movie to literally just do a carbon copy. That 2019 live action is just the same film. So you've got to give respect to the animation it's based on, because they're saying, we're not messing this up. This is a perfect formula. We're not messing it up. So that one's mine.
Yeah, but for me personally, when I saw what they did with the Be Prepared in live action, I was like, this is already treason for me, an act of treason for me, because the way how they butchered that song, But anyway, we're getting off the subject. Okay, so Lion King is your number one. How about you, TK?
I'm gonna have to go with the same, The Lion King.
Wow. Okay. That's actually that's actually pretty groovy. Let's put it that way. Two same movies as number one places. Wow. I'm really surprised. But again, it's at the same time, not really, because The Lion King is one of the greatest Disney masterpieces they have ever created. It definitely is. Even though a lot of people, did say, "Oh, it's just simply Hamlet," but in Animal Kingdom, I'm like, fuck you.
I will say though, an underrated Disney movie is Recess School's Out.
Oh yeah, the one with the one with James Woods as the main villain.
Yeah.
I remember that movie. I used to remember, like when I was little, I thought when they released it on TV, I actually thought it was some kind of a special episode or something. I never thought it was actually a movie, because I never saw Recess, oh hey, let's plan to do a Recess movie. Like I never saw Recess to have actual movie. That thing surprised me. But going back to my number one, I know for a lot of people, I know they'll be wondering, why the hell did you choose that one? And I'm like, look, it's my list, so get over it. But basically, my number one Disney anime movie of all time. The reason why, because it holds a very special place in my heart. So nostalgic, and this is a movie that I will watch over and over again. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. That's my number one. Because I know for a lot of people, they're like, oh, it's very simple. It's nothing special about everything. I'm like, to me, it is. it means a lot to me, this movie, and again, this is a movie that I watch over and over again. I mean, you can't go wrong with the freaking Hi Ho song. I mean, come on, that's even for me one of the greatest Disney animated songs I've ever heard of. Which actually kind of brings me. Yeah.
Sorry, I was just going to say I want to give also some respect to Encanto. I think Encanto was fantastic with the great music elements, and again, really beautiful, and exploring a really fascinating culture, but also a really great story and some really great themes as well. So Encanto is another one where it was in the midst of all the COVID stuff and where things were so unpredictable. That was another golden gem where I thought Disney did a fantastic job. So Encanto is up there. I'm trying to think of like top 5, and I'm getting too ahead of myself. But Encanto is definitely up there for me as well.
Yeah, most certainly, I do agree with you. But I always wondered if the COVID thing actually never happened. I wonder, if Encanto could have done big numbers on the box office. That's the one thing I was kind of always curious if they, if the movie actually had a chance to prove itself. I always wonder, if they could have actually made some money. If the viewers will find this movie interesting. I mean, what do you guys think?
I don't know.
Well, I'm interested to see. Well, I'm having a look now as we talk about Encanto's numbers, because I don't think it did particularly too bad within it. I mean, it grossed 261 million worldwide, 96 domestic, 96 million domestic. It opened with 27 million, which is pretty big for a movie in November of 2021.
True.
Do I think it should have gone? Yes, because I think with the COVID, the Oscar backing, it was crazy on that movie. I mean, it was up for Best Original Song, Best Animated. I think it won for Best Animated Feature. So it had some fantastic, positives going into it. So yeah, I agree with that. I think it could have done a little bit more. Film close to Christmas, families. I think it was really great. It deserves a lot of respect. I think a lot of people do just dismiss it. Really, I'm interested to see if they do any a TV show or TV show or a sequel to this one, because I think it would be fascinating.
Yeah, I mean, my only problem with Encanto was always that this, was that this movie needed a villain. For me personally, I think this movie needed a villain. I mean, you could kind of see it as a story that does it actually need a villain? I mean, some people could actually kind of agree on that, but for me personally, I would have enjoyed more if there was actually a villain in it. For example, you could have made even Bruno as an actual villain to kind of give a reason, we don't talk about Bruno, no. You could kind of give a reason to the song, because later on, you think okay, he's the bad guy, and then later on, no, he's a good guy. He's just simply a little bit twisted, and wrongfully understood. And I was like, that's it. I'm like, okay, whatever. Because I remember when I was watching Encanto the first time, I was like, maybe the grandmother's husband, maybe he'll return back to the ghost / villain in Encanto. I mean, who knows? Anything is possible with Disney, But then I was like, when you see the movie, you're like, no, that didn't happen at all, So for me personally, I think that movie needed a villain, Even even if they give us a stereotypical classic Disney villain, I wouldn't mind. But I think Bruno could have been a perfect villain for that movie. Especially the kind of backstory that he had with the rest of the family and everything.
Yeah.
Again, yeah. Now, another question I have for you guys, because again, I'm gonna drop a lot of question bombs on you, because I'm really kind of curious what you're gonna say. Now, this is gonna be the toughest one of them all. What is your favorite number 1 Disney TV show? Now that's going to be a tough one.
I don't think I'm gonna back out personally on this one, just because I don't think I've seen a lot and enough to kind of comment. So I'm gonna declare myself out for this one, purely because I don't know enough to kind of form an opinion on it. More films rather than TV shows. So I'm going to pass on this one if you don't mind. My fearless leader.
No, not at all. Not at all. No problem at all. Like, you know, like there are no outsiders in my Shadow Council, so don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We all have.
There better not be. There better not be. I'm second in command, aren't I? Didn't you put me second in command? I thought you did.
Yeah, the rule with my Shadow Council is that we are all equal. Basically, we are all like
right.
one big command. Basically,
I got told different, but there we go.
You know. Well, okay. Well, you know, just for you. Okay, you are my second in command. Are you happy? Okay, you're my second in command.
What
Just for
about
you.
me?
That you're my third in command.
Yay!
Okay. Now, what about? I can't believe I'm doing this. Like, anyway. Okay. Going back to the subject in hand. Then you.
Who's your favorite?
Who's your? P.S. We're gonna talk about this in private, behind the scenes. Okay, we're not gonna talk about this here right now. All right, I know what you're trying to do. You're gonna pull. You're gonna pull like a me on the bounty here. Okay. I know how you work, DK. I know how you work. I know how your dirty, poisonous mind works. You know, yeah, I know that. Yeah. Anyway.
I think that's the answer. I think there's your answer right there. I know exactly who he prefers.
Oh my god! You bunch of bastards! Oh my god! This is literally, you know, like one has the power and the other one craves it like shit. Anyway, back to the subject now. TK, I want to hear your like number one Disney TV show.
Okay. I'm trying to. I'm running through them in my head real quick. I'd probably. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'd probably say it. So I'd probably say Timon and Pumbaa, because I really thought that was funny. Although, what was the other one? The New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh I really liked.
You mean the New Adventures of Winnie the Pooh?
Yeah.
Okay.
If we were talking Playhouse Disney stuff, maybe PB&J Otter, Stanley. I think it'd be a tie between those two. Now, an underrated Disney animated show, which is kind of close to Recess, but not like it's a totally different concept. But The Weekenders, which again, that's
I remember
highly
that
rated.
one.
And I don't think they have that streaming on Disney Plus yet.
No.
Which if anybody from Disney is watching, get on the game and get that up there now. But I think that's a very, very, very underrated show. But to answer your question, I think Timon and Pumbaa I'm going to go with.
Okay, fair enough. Now, in my kind of like, you know, when it comes on my list, there were 3 shows that like, you know, really fought for the first place because all 3 of them are like very close to, you know, again, being poetical, like very close to my heart. And when it comes to nostalgia and everything, but I'm going with the original DuckTales as my number one. You know, like I mean, I've seen the reboot. Well, reboot, it kind of continues in a way the original DuckTales, but you know, and again, David Tennant, you know, he was great as you know, as Scrooge McDuck, you know, but like for me personally, like the you know, I kind of dig the story and everything, but I'm sticking to the original. Like the original DuckTales, that's the one I grew up with. So my number one is DuckTales, but I will say this: Gargoyles comes very close for me, very close. Yeah. Now, Another now here I'm going, again with another bomb question for all of you. Now, the second part of the question for you, FRC, you can take a step back if you want to, no problems. But here's the question for you two: which movie and TV show do you think is the most underrated? Movie and TV show. I will add underrated and underappreciated.
I think they're two very different answers. Underappreciated, I'd say Zootopia. For me, like I really had a great fun with that. So yeah, I'd probably say Zootopia for a movie. I think Wreck-It Ralph doesn't get. I think they kind of back themselves into a corner with the whole story progression after the sequel. I don't know where else they could go with that. So potentially that one, because you're never probably gonna. I don't know whether you're gonna see a third one again. So say them two, Wreck-It, but I'll probably go with Zootopia just because I think people go, yeah, it was great, but I mean, you look at that year, animated movies. I mean, that was phenomenal that year of so many quality. 2016 was the year of animated movies because you had that, Moana, Kubo and the Two Strings, Finding Dory. Like it just kind of mixed within the whole pack of really quality animated films. So not a lot of people go, oh yeah, Zootopia, like that. I thought that was a great film.
Okay, so your underappreciated, you would say, is Zootopia. Underrated, Wreck-It Ralph. Okay.
Yeah, just because I don't think I think a lot of people just associate it as like okay, it's just a video game film. But no, I think it was more than that. I think it was a really clever way of doing it.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually the reason why I wanted to add underappreciated. Kind of, make the question more interesting in a way.
Yeah.
Okay, now TK, your turn. Underrated, underappreciated movie and TV shows.
Okay. I think underrated and underappreciated. I'm going to go with The Weekenders because I think it is like. I think falls into I think both categories for a TV show because I think it's underappreciated how good it was, and I also think it's like underrated just because like I thought it was really good, and I just don't think it has really gotten the recognition it deserved. Movie that's harder. I'm trying to run through in my head the movies. Underappreciated.
So again, now you said for the TV show you went with The Weekenders as underappreciated and underrated.
Yeah.
Okay. Now for the movies, if you want, you can choose two, like underappreciated and then one who's underrated, if you want to.
I'm trying to run through the movies in my head.
Glad to have you back, FRC.
Oh, thank you. Just some technical difficulties. We're fine now. We're fine.
No problem at all. Looks like I gave you a tricky one this time, okay?
Is the worst Walt Disney film going to be the next question? Because I have my answer for that.
Yeah.
Don't don't worry. I have that question reserved as well. Don't worry about it.
Oh, I've got that straight away, so quick.
I'm really curious if we're gonna have a fight or we are gonna agree.
Okay, underrated, underappreciated Disney film. I'm gonna go with. Oh, I had it and I just lost it. Oh, crap.
That's okay. We have time.
Just letting you know, I have work in the morning. Just saying. I
got a good one.
We haven't got all the time.
Teacher's Pet. I'm going to go with Teacher's Pet.
Okay.
Teacher's pet. Okay, so for like both.
Yeah.
Okay. For me, I'm gonna choose like for me when I'm gonna double the question. I will double the answer. Sorry. So now I'm gonna start with TV shows. Now, underrated for me. Again, I'm going kind of like with the classic, but like underrated for me is The Adventures of the Guys.
Mhm.
That for me is very underrated and should be way more like like worldwide spread TV show because like, it has a really great story, great characters. Love Duke Eekthorn as the villain. I really did. Very magical, very fantasy, level like story. So underrated The Adventures of the Gummy Bears. Underappreciated. I'm gonna go. I don't know if you are familiar with this show, but underappreciated. I'm going with Bonkers. It is kind of like an animated version of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, basically. Where basically you have it's a world basically where toons and people live together again, just like the movie. And you have Bonkers, who's this actual like character / cartoon movie star who works as a cop, and he's like with this Piquel detective, and they do like all kinds of crazy shit like investigations, like what should I say, toon-like investigations, and again, the show is a barrel of laughs, like every episode has its own story with some little connection overall, but it's such a really great Bonkers TV show, no pun intended. And Jim Cummings in this show, I would say, is one of my favorite. He has one of my most favorite performances when it comes to voiceover with Jim Cummings, as Bonkers and Piquel. So definitely like underappreciated Bonkers. Now, when it comes to movies, like that's easy for me. Underrated Princess and the Frog, and underappreciated. I'm sticking with this, like because this movie is one of my top 5. I wouldn't go as far as say top 3. Treasure Planet. Treasure Planet is one of the most underappreciated Disney anime movies ever created, and the way how he was treated through the box office, the reviews, and like there were so many projects connected with this movie that were canceled because it didn't go well. I mean, I know there was a year where they kind of like went competitive with Pixar and everything. I kind of get it. It was also the age of 3D, but Treasure Planet, like I love that story. Even though a lot of people say it's just Treasure Island in space, but still, man, like I love that movie so much.
So you said Treasure Island. Well, that's just you said Treasure Planet. That's just Treasure Island in space.
Touche. But you get the idea. Again, the story, the voiceover in this, like Martin Short as the robot Ben, or like bioelectronic navigator. Like he was a barrel of laughs in that movie, And again, you also had the guy who voiced Kingpin in the Spider-Man 90s TV show as Mr. Arrow. You had what was the actress' name who played Nanny McPhee?
Emma Thompson.
Thank you. Emma Thompson as Captain Amelia. Like so many great characters, so many great like when it comes to voice, like as a cast list, really underappreciated. Really underappreciated with all my heart. Like it should deserve more recognition than it got. Yeah. So again, underrated Prince and the Frog, underappreciated Treasure Planet, TV shows, underappreciated Bonkers, underrated. I went with The Adventures of the Gummy Bears. That's definitely for me. Oh, and we have a classic before we move to questions. More questions.
Ooh, that's a good one.
We have Not Your Normal Geek Guy. I think this might
Ryan.
be.
It's Ryan.
Hello, Ryan. Yeah, hello, Ryan. Welcome to the Shadow Council. I think this might be classed as underrated, but I absolutely loved Basil, the Great Mouse Detective. Oh, yes. Great choice, my friend. Great choice. Oh, my God. That movie was also great. I don't hear anyone really mentioning that one. Exactly. Yeah, I do totally agree with you, Ryan. I really, really do. Oh my god, like like that movie was also great. I mean, you had like freaking Vincent Price as Radigan, kind of like Mouse version of Professor Moriarty. Like his voice performance is one of the, for me personally, one of the most greatest Disney villain performances they ever casted. I mean, again, so unappreciated. I may even add one more as underappreciated or even underrated. The Sword in the Stone. I will also add that. The Sword in the Stone.
That was a good one.
Also good. Yeah. And just to make the things a little more interesting, I'm also going to put on the table the Black Cauldron.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to put that as well. Now,
I have a question for you two.
Okay, go ahead.
It's a random question, but what the heck? So, and it is Disney animation. So, Goofy, he wears pants, he drives a car, he lives in a house, has money, apparently. But Pluto, who's also a dog, doesn't wear pants, doesn't have a car, he lives in a doghouse. Now, my question is, how's that fair?
Well, I think it's all about the cost system. Low, high cost. Yeah. Some people have extraordinary, devil's luck. Some of them, they don't. Some of them just simply go down there in the gutter, and unfortunately, Pluto is one of them. Yeah. Or dear Goofy, like, he gets more chances. What do you think, FRC?
I don't think I can trump that, what Al's just said. All I'll say is I'll keep my opinion of dog locating houses to myself. That'll be an opinion I'll keep on. I'll keep to myself to this evening.
Very nice. Very nice indeed. Okay, now here comes your favorite question, FRC. Your favorite one.
It's not my favorite. It's not my favorite. It's just the one I predicted.
Yeah, but I can see it in your eyes. I can see in your expression that is your favorite question that we're gonna get tonight. So, well, for TK in the evening. But here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the $1 million question, or in this case, 1 million golden Mickey Mouses. Which is the worst Disney animated movie? So let me hear your answers, ladies and gentlemen, or just simply gentlemen.
Bolt.
That counts as Pixar, so.
It doesn't. It's Walt Disney. That's not Pixar. Bolt is not. I'm putting my foot down here in the Shadow Council. In the council rooms, I am putting that down. That is not Pixar. That is Walt Disney.
Oh, okay. I stand corrected. It's Disney.
Yeah,
I stand corrected.
Yeah. The Shadow Council. I'm not number 2. I am number 2 now after that one.
Okay, Bolt. How about you, TK?
Can I just make a case for Bolt, by the way? How boring and stupid was that story? Oh my god. The villain has got a green eye. That's it. Like you go down to any like random art museum or something where people are drawing them like, oh, what's cool? What's villainous? They give him red eyes. No, he has a green eye. And in the like Bolt with like just no. And then what's the name of the gerbil hamster thing in the wheel? What?
Oh yeah, let me just guess. Just a second.
Forgot about that.
That was rival of the basically that actor who did
Rhino.
Rhino, yes. The actor who played that the Bolt came out in 2009, I believe. That
2008.
2008. So they watched Heath Ledger play the Joker in the same year, thinking, I'm going to do that, but I'm going to do that in Bolt, in a ball, as a gerbil. That was ridiculous. Like, the whole idea about, it's a movie dog, and then it's going to go out, that was stupid. Like, the little girl is literally, like goes from an actor as well, but they never mention it. It's such a terrible plot. It's so boring as well. Another one, Strange World. I felt like I was going to fall asleep with that. Stunning visuals, stunning animation, but such a forced like theme of, we got to make these characters gay. You didn't need to make them gay. They just made a whole point about it. It was just so forced. It was ridiculous. And I felt like there was just no villain whatsoever, just the environment. That was terrible. So yeah, Bolt, 100%. Never want to rewatch that film again. That was painful.
Okay. How about you, TK?
Hmm.
After all that ravaging speech.
It's a good thing FRC said Strange World because I'm going with that one.
There we
You're
go.
going with Bolt.
Yeah, because no, Strange World.
No, Strange World.
Strange World. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I'm going with that one. For the
Are you gonna tell TK that that's Pixar as well, or are we definitely know that Walt Disney?
That is Disney. Okay. Are you seriously gonna be a pain in the ass just saying like, "Ooh, I'm mistaking it for Pixar"? Okay, it's my mistake. All right, I get it. It was Disney, not Pixar. Happy now.
Yes.
Okay, so you went with so basically you went with Strange World, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This might be a shock for all of you, for the two of you, but I'm also going with Bolt.
Yes. How can you? Hang on a minute. Let's just calm down. So, either Al has listened to my answer thinking, okay, I agree with that, or he already had Bolt in his head, but thought to himself, I'm going to be awkward, so I'm going to say to FRC, that is Pixar.
I was
Brilliant.
I was between. It was actually between Meet the Robinson and Bolt.
Meet the Robinson. Meet the Robinson's down there. Oh my god.
So it was for me. It was between those two, because the thing is, Bolt for me as an experience, because I watched that movie unfortunately 2 times. I watched it, and don't ask. Okay, don't ask.
I'm not.
But the thing is, the trailers freaking cheated on me. Okay, I felt like I was like, oh, it's gonna be a movie about like a super dog, basically. Kind of like okay, doggy like 007 type of like movie. Okay, fine. Even the villain didn't bug me. I was like, okay, whatever. But then I was like, wait, what? Wait, it's a story about a dog that has a problem, like seeing difference between fiction and reality. I was like, okay, I mean, I get it. I mean, okay. Like, I was watching the movie, I was like confused the whole time. I was like, okay, what's the story? What's the point of the story? Like, the one chance, like the dog gets separates from the girl. The girl is trying to reach him. The agent gets a double. Him struggling with fantasy and reality. Like, whatever. I was like, okay, I'm fucking confused. I mean, look. I get the idea of the story, what they wanted to tell. I get it, because they're all, because even in the real world, you have all sorts of people who can, like they can't define the difference between fantasy and reality. I mean, Bolt was definitely based on Don Quixote, basically.
Yes.
It was basically based on that, especially when Don Quixote was fighting the what they're called, the
pinwheels or the
windmills.
Windmills.
Okay, especially the scene with windmills when he fought like they were giants, basically. So I kind of see where they got the inspiration from Bolt and everything. But even if they wanted to do that, like, why would you keep the trailers going with like this super dog / agent thing? I mean,
did you think it was like Crypto the super dog from DC League of Super Pets? Like, did you think it was that type of like superhero dog?
Listen, it was 2008. Okay, I felt like it was gonna be like a super dog or something.
Yeah. That's all. Yeah.
And I was like, wow. And I was like, wow, like like even the villain looks cool, kind of like a James Bond type villain with like a green cat eye. I was like, okay, he looks cool, but the way how they used him, I was like, holy shit. Oh boy. This is gonna be interesting.
Oh no.
Ryan said I can't lie. I enjoyed Bolt. I was much younger though, so I may not as much now. I was in my Mikey Cyrus phase,
Mikey
though, so
Cyrus.
partly BS.
Cyrus.
I swear
Okay.
that's the dad. I swear that's the dad's name. I mean, he's just he was in it. He was in Mikey Cyrus's mate. That is brilliant.
Okay.
That's good. Next, Al is my co-presenter on FRC Live. When Ryan comes on next, that is getting brought up. If he's not got his name, he's changed it. Next comment. Go on to the next comment. Never mind.
Miley. Okay. But nevertheless, don't worry, Ryan. It's completely understandable. You're not gonna be blackballed for this. Well, maybe you're gonna be blackballed from FRC, but not from me. We all have different tastes. We all have different tastes in movies and TV shows. It's okay. It's okay.
Ryan,
don't worry about it.
Ryan is always welcome on FRC Live. He's going to be he's going to be a regular guest on the show. Obviously, Al is my co-presenter. So, but now I'm telling you now, Mikey Cyrus has to be your name on on it. Ryan, it has to be, mate. It has. You've done that to yourself, my friend. But no, we can't wait to have you on FRC.
Okay. Now, for this question, now, Sam, we did the movie.
So what you were saying was that Bolt, that movie goes to the dogs, then, right?
Yep.
Ah, very good. I like that. That was good. And by the way, can I just say, before we started talking about the worst Disney animation in our opinion, Lord of Shadows literally turned around and went, "This is FRC's favorite question." I've never gone into so much detail about this in my life, and also, I was so passionate about my two answers. But I agree with you both. Bolt, Strange World, Meet the Robinsons as well. I mean, that was poor. That was really poor.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I just want to say this. For TK, Strange World is the worst. But to be fair, it definitely is down there. But for me personally, it's way more higher for me than Meet the Robinson and Bolt. Way more higher for me, even though it is a little bit down there. Because, for me at least, the story wasn't boring. I like the overall story, the kind of like this adventure, archaeology, explorer type of like storyline and everything, and the family element as well. I didn't have any problem with that. The only problem I had with Strange World, as I said, even for Encanto, where is the villain? I want a villain. Mm-hmm. And Strange World didn't have anyone. I mean, in Strange World, I told that to my other friends, you could have easily brought in a fucking rival explorer, as being kind of like the main villain, using this Strange World for his own purposes. It could be weapons, money, or whatever. But instead,
I think it had fantastic visuals, and I think that's all it relied on was the visual idea of this different world and using different colors. I appreciate that's why it's not the worst for me, but I think it relies too much on that rather than the story sense. That's why I'm a little bit worried about Moana 2. Is that I feel like they'll rely on the visuals and the story. Obviously, I've not seen that film yet.
I mean,
but
Strange World. Sorry. Go ahead.
All I was going to say was I think that was the biggest knockdown for Strange World is look how nice it looks, and then when you kind of as you're going through, you're thinking this story doesn't hold up, which was kind of disappointing, really.
I mean, the story felt for me, at least for me, for Strange World, the story kind of felt like I kind of get where they're going with this, but it kind of but in the end, the story ends up kind of like an anticlimactic type of like story. And yeah. I was like, I was kind of expecting more, because again, the overall idea of it, the overall world building they did, I liked it, and the overall idea, but the execution wasn't done good, was done badly. Mm-hmm. The overall execution. So, but again, it's definitely not like way down where Bolt and Robinson are, but like it's a little bit higher for me because I still had I still had fun with it.
I have a question for Lord of Shadows because I can remember recalling doing a very similar Shadow Council episode where we were talking about Disney villains and we were discussing this. A lot of people, and I have still not seen, I know you two have, I believe you have, TK, correct me if I'm wrong, but I've still not seen this film yet. A lot of people say that the worst Disney animated movie is Wish, and I've still not seen that film. I'm not saying that I agree with them, but I think that's very interesting. Is that the biggest? Do you feel like that movie gets a bad rap? Because every time I hear it goes, no, that's not good. No, it's not good. But I can remember TK, you've watched it, right? You enjoyed it? Yeah. So
did
you two
I.
are like the only, I know you did, but now I can remember the conversation. But like, you two are the only two people that I think liked it. Do you think that film gets a little bit too much hate? Because from what I saw of it, I thought it was strong. I've not seen the film, but I do need to check it out.
I don't know why it gets the hate it does.
I'm just gonna say all those negative comments about the movie, they're all full of shit. They're all full of shit for me, because the movie gets so much hate, so much negativity that, you know, I even watched like the Wish movie, you know, with like one of my friends who is not a big Disney musical type of, like, you know, movies, but he watched it with me, and even he was like, you know, why is this movie getting so much hate? You know, because, like, you know, he really, like myself, like, he really enjoyed the story. He really liked the idea overall. King Magnifico, for him, he was like, you know, one of the most greatest Disney villains he ever seen. You know, he really liked him. You know, especially, you know, the performance of Chris Pine. I mean, come on, like, you know, he was literally in the movie. I would say, even for me, Chris Pine as King Magnifico, he was, like, for me, the best part of the movie. Like, you know, definitely, you know. But overall, for me, I think, like, I do agree with you, TK. I mean, you and I discussed about Wish even way before when it came out first time. So, you know, and we kind of both agree that this movie really gets too much negativity. It really doesn't deserve that. You know, I mean, is the movie perfect? No. You know, but is it that horrible? Not at all. Not at all. Like, you know, all the characters are interesting. The comedy, 90% of it really worked for me. You know, I mean, one of my favorite parts of that movie is definitely the chicken thing.
Yeah,
that happened.
I would guess, although I don't know. I'm curious the age demographics of, like, the total age demographics overall of, like, the people who didn't like it. Because, like, I would bet, although I don't know, I would bet it's like the younger people who were more critical of it, because one thing that I really like about it, and I think, I mean, I hope I'm not in the minority with it, is that I loved the Easter eggs in it, like the throwbacks to, like, the past 100 years of Disney, starting with her grandfather's age.
Yeah,
I love that. I wish I'd known going into the movie about all the Easter eggs, because, like, I started picking up on them halfway through the movie, and for me, that was the most clever thing they did in it. And like I said, I mean, I really enjoyed that. And I just wonder if some of the demographics of the people who didn't like it trend younger, because a lot of that stuff would have gone, like, right over their heads.
I mean,
I also think from an outsider perspective looking in as well, like, you know, you look at a film that celebrates 100 years and they're trying to do something different, have a movie that celebrates that. A lot of people were just judging it purely as a movie. But you gotta look at really the role and responsibility that has. Like, that movie could have been released in its 99th year, 98th, you know, 90th, 85th. You know, it could have been done, but it didn't. They took their time and celebrated it. I think it's a movie based from what you guys hear, and I respect your opinion. I think your opinion is fantastic with all this type of stuff. Is that people misunderstood it. They treated it as just a normal movie and didn't like certain aspects. I think what it was really trying to do was celebrate. But if people are not in that mood to celebrate Disney within the film, then you're kind of losing what Disney's main goal was. So I'm going to go into the movie with that mindset of, okay, this is a movie that's going to celebrate something. You know, not a lot of companies go for 100 years. So I think it was a misunderstood film by a lot of people. That's why it was so low down in a lot of people's estimation.
No, I mean, I do agree. I mean, the Wish thing, it kind of brings me back to the days when the Black Cauldron came out. Like, because it suffered the same, maybe not like, maybe not so much the negativity as we did with Wish, but like the similarity on it is very, very is very, very near, and even like, for the Black Cauldron, I watched that movie countless times, and I still think it's a great movie, even though the story overall is simple, because let's get real. The Wish story is simple, very easy to follow, nothing complicated, but I think one of the problem is I've seen a lot of people, expecting Wish to be like, just because, since it's like, 100 years of celebration of Disney, that it's gonna be some kind of like Lord of the Rings level movie, basically, or Titanic, level movie. I mean, maybe I'm kind of exaggerating, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Basically, they were expecting like, a very strong movie, something that really celebrates Disney and everything, but you can do. But for me personally, the way how I see it, you can do a movie even with that represents the 100 years, because we said the Easter eggs, the movie is filled with it. It's full of it.
Yeah.
It's literally full of it. Yeah, you literally need to watch it a couple of times. It's the same thing. We kind of like going outside Disney. Kind of the same thing with the Super Mario Bros. Movie. Like, those are movies that you have to watch like really a couple of times so you can get all the Easter eggs and everything, But
I think part of the issue with Wish too, though, and this would be, I think, the only thing I might say critical about it is I don't think it was marketed well, because going into it, my friends and I going into it had no idea what we were like going into really. So I think that might be part of it, is the marketing for it. I think was really like, it wasn't terrible. I think the worst marketing campaign was Spider-Man No Way Home, but I think that this one, I mean, I don't think it was marketed well. I don't think you got a good idea overall from the previews, like what you were going to go see. So I think that might have also been part of it.
Yeah, I think like the marketing was also part of it. I mean, I wouldn't say it wasn't bad marketing, but I would say it was definitely one of the weakest ones, for sure. And again, and what I think like one of the also elements that kind of really played hard on Wish is also people having so much higher expectations because it celebrates 100 years and everything. So that's, I think, also a big problem they had. Because every time when I go see a Disney movie, my expectations are not on the same level. Like, for example, if you're gonna go watch the 2025 Superman, or if I would go to watch Infinity War or Endgame, or what else, or like, okay, let's just say Zack Snyder's Justice League in this case. Like, I don't have high expectations for any of those, for any Disney movie, because my only core, let's call it like wish, no pun intended, about Disney anime movies is to just have fun, basically. To have just simply plain fun, sit down and enjoy the ride, basically. It doesn't matter for me if the story is simple or complicated. Just give me a movie that I'm gonna have a good time. I had a good time with Wish. I really did. Like, I loved all the songs, especially "Welcome to Roses" and "This Is the Thanks I Get." Those are like my two favorite songs of the movie. All the characters work for me. Again, Chris Pine as King Magnifico. I'm so happy that Disney Villain is back with him. I really am happy with this. I mean, even Moana 2 is going to have a proper villain this time. I'm really happy with that as well. So, and again, the animation, what they accomplished, like connecting 3D and 2D, is something I wouldn't call it revolutionary in a way, the way how they did. And I'm really hoping that they continue making, not all the projects, but like some of the projects on that level. So, but again, I know I'm kind of going very deep into that, but kind of like those are kind of like overall thoughts about Wish, and what I think of it. Yeah. Now, going back to this is more of a question for you, TK, because I know that FRC has, is going to have to take a lie down for this question for sure, but
I'm not that old. Don't need to lie down. I don't need a nap.
Well, that's okay. You can even hit yourself with a hammer and then go KO. Yeah. Just watch your bag. But anyway, my question for you, TK, is which Disney TV show you think is the worst?
Oh boy, Disney TV show, Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. Oh my, holy shit! I forgot about that. Wait, dinosaurs. You're talking about the.
The one with like the green dinosaur who wore like the plaid shirt.
Oh, you're talking about the honey. I'm home.
Yeah.
Like with the family and everything.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I never really got that show, to be honest. I mean, I think I found it funny at the time, but I never really got that show. And it's one of those shows too, like for kids, that I don't know how kids were entertained by it as opposed to scared. They should have been scared by it because like giant like dinosaurs like in those costumes, like that should terrify people, not entertain people.
I mean, if you want to get terrified, just remember the intro, how it started. Like, with that music. I mean, kind of like that prehistoric music and everything, and like the dinosaur kind of like walking and everything. And then like, everything stops from like, being scared and everything. Wait a minute. Blasphemy. That was your favorite. That was my favorite show.
I love Ryan so much. He's brilliant.
Oh, fair enough, Ryan. But if you
dinosaurs, correct me if I'm wrong. That starred the actor Mikey Cyrus, didn't it?
I don't know. Maybe he used another code name. Maybe he used Miley this time. I mean, who knows? Like, there's a lot of conspiracy theory on that one. Like, very, But anyway, Ryan, to make you happy, it's not my worst one. I also am a fan of the show. So, if that makes you happy in a way.
He's never going to let that down, by the way. Can I just say?
Oh, that's for sure. But to kind of add you on dinosaurs, like this is also a show I was introduced when I was a kid, and a lot of my friends, a lot of the kids I used to know now, now they're long forgotten for me in my mind.
Forgotten. How old are you?
I am 139. I just look good.
He's old. He's the first film he remembers watching from Disney Animation is Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. He is old.
Those were the days when we were good shit movies. For sure.
I've asked him to send me his moisturizer, and he still hasn't yet. That's why I look so old.
What can I say? It makes me very pretty. Anyway, going back to the dinosaurs. Some of my friends, they used to find that show kind of like scary or traumatizing because the costumes, or even like to kind of make it quickly, the baby, basically, not the mama, like he would say, for me personally, okay, for a lot of kids, I've seen that baby was scary. I, including my mother, we found him adorable. Honestly, I mean, I have. You know what? Forget. I'm not gonna go deep down that abyss anymore.
Probably for the best.
Now, trust me, not how you think. But anyway, I mean, even today, I find the baby adorable. Okay, even today, and I'm not ashamed to say it. Screw it. But anyway, for me personally, on my worst Disney TV show, for me, that for me is very difficult. Very difficult because so far, and I'm gonna be completely honest, like I don't have a worst TV show. I only have shows that I like less and I like more. I never reached any TV show that made of Disney that was kind of like awful, to me. Unless we include the very childish TV shows. Unless we include that, but that's a different story.
Comment. Read the comment. Can I just say, Ryan wasn't here for the intro when we said we can't talk about Star Wars. Please do not get him started again. Every time this show keeps no. Al, just chill a minute.
Alan,
calm down.
Deep breaths. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
How's that?
Wait. On a just a little bit of On a little bit of a side note, though, we could talk about this a little bit more, like after the show. You can message me or whatnot. Have you rewatched The Acolyte yet? You said you were going to.
Oh, yeah, I did. And don't
Okay,
worry, the
all right.
the aftermath live stream is coming. Oh, it's coming. It definitely is.
Do you like it? Do you like it more?
Sorry, Ryan.
second-
Yes, I do.
I am not joining you for that. I will watch the live stream. I'm not joining you for that. We honestly had such an argument with that. But Ryan, I respect you, man. Thank you so much for putting that in.
I mean, I wasn't even planning to invite you because I know your answer is going to be no. So I was planning to do that all by myself, by the way. You know,
Good.
I mean,
Good.
if anyone wants to join me, hey, be my guest, you know, but I'm planning to do it on my own.
Okay, so
TK.
Alan, what about Tailspin?
Oh, that's one of my favorites.
See, that I don't know that.
I love Tailspin, like the way how they used some of the Jungle Book characters and basically bring them into the present time and everything. I love that. You know, I really did. You know, even though the episodes were kind of like each episode had their own story. Basically, that was very traditional back in those days. Than what it is now. But Tailspin is part of my childhood. I love that. I love all the voiceover. I love all the characters. I love Baloo in that show, especially Baloo and Louie and their crazy relationship. I love them in Tailspin. Tony J is freaking Shere Khan. I mean, come on. Shere Khan, voiced by Tony J. You could literally say he's the freaking kingpin in Disney. He's like literally Disney's kingpin in that show, you know, and I love them for it. Even though he wasn't exactly a villain, he was kind of like a neutral character, but I love them. So overall, Tailspin is definitely not one of my worst ones. It's for me personally, it's one of my best ones.
Okay, maybe. Okay, what about Jungle Cubs?
Jungle Cops. Ooh, that name ring a bell. Just give me a second. Jungle Cops. Is that how they're called?
By the way, I love Shere Khan as a villain. He is my favorite, one of my favorite villains. He's so good, and that film is. I rewatched the live action Jungle Book, and that is definitely one of the better live action remakes that they did because I think that was phenomenal, and so is the animation. Really good.
Yeah,
film.
I mean, look, the original guy who voiced Shere Khan in the Disney Jungle Book movie, and Tony J will always be my favorite versions of Shere Khan. But like Idris Elba, for me, when I saw him in Jungle Book movie, giving his overall voice performance as Shere Khan, I was like, welcome to the family. Like, I really love this performance as Shere Khan, definitely. How would you say the name of the Jungle Cops?
Yeah, Jungle Cubs. I'm trying to make sure I get the spelling right. CUBS.
Wait, wait a minute. You said CUBS.
Yes.
Are you sure?
Might be a double B.
Oh, wait a minute. You mean Jungle Cubs?
Yeah.
I thought you said Jungle Cops. Oh yeah.
That's what they sell it. That's what they sell at Disneyland. Jungle Cups.
Okay, Jungle Cubs. Okay, now it makes I don't remember the TV show that much, but I do know it's basically a TV show about like all these Jungle Book characters as children, basically.
Yes, it's kind of like a Disney ripoff of a pup named Scooby Doo.
But and also I would even go as far as say Baby Muppets.
Yes.
Yeah, or even even like a ripoff to Baby Looney Tunes as well.
Yeah,
kind of. But again, I don't remember that much of that show at all. But I so again, my answer won't be that perfectly clear because again, I didn't watch it that much. But I will definitely put it like one of my least ones. That's for sure. But again, not my worst one, but definitely one of my least ones. That's for sure. Okay. Do you have any more questions, TK, to drop in?
Okay, what the heck? I don't. So, I'm trying to think if this makes sense. So, and we'll classify the Jungle Book 2 and Return to Neverland in this, even though they're not directed video. We'll just classify them. So, of the Disney sequels of like the original animated movies, 101 Dalmatians, Peter Pan, Lion King, do you think those sequels were good? Yeah, I'll just say, do you think those sequels were good?
Some of them, not all of them. Some of them were good. Like for example, I do remember I watched Return to Neverland, the Peter Pan sequel, in the theater. I do remember that as well when I was a kid, and I did enjoy it. It still kind of felt like he had that classic Disney animation. So that's one of the things I loved about it, and also Jeff Bennett as Mr. Smee and Corey Burton as Captain Hook. That role literally basically marked them as the official Mr. Smee and Captain Hook. I like their performances. I like the idea of that Wendy had a daughter and now the daughter went to Neverland and all of that. I kind of like that. The only problem I had with that movie, I remember, was we didn't see any Indians and we haven't seen the mermaids that much. The only thing we saw the mermaids was when they tried to make Jane wet, and that's it. It was basically Lost Boys, Peter Pan, Jane, and the pirates. So that's the only complaint I had. But overall, I like the story. That's definitely one of my favorite sequels. The other one that comes close is let me think. No, the 101 Dalmatians. I didn't like those sequels. I didn't even like the Lady and the Tramp sequel as well. I didn't like them. Let's see what else. Besides, wait a minute. Remind me. Besides Wonderland, what was the other one that you mentioned?
There was Return to the Sea, and there was Simba's Pride, and the Jungle Book sequel too.
Oh yeah, okay. So Jungle Book 2, it was fine for me. It wasn't great. It wasn't bad. It was fine. I didn't mind, John Goodman as Baloo. I didn't mind him, to be sure. I didn't mind him, and also again, Tony Jay as Shere Khan. You can't go wrong with that. The overall story, it was okay. Basically, if you look at it, it was basically, Mowgli trying to live in the human village, Shere Khan wanting revenge, and of course you have Baloo trying to get him out of the village, and everything. Which I thought that part was funny. Overall, it was a solid movie. The Little Mermaid, that's the next one you mentioned, right? The Little Mermaid sequel. The Little Mermaid sequels, okay, one of them was a sequel and the other one was a prequel, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So both those movies were okay. I remember more the prequel than the second one, but they were both okay. Even though the sequel, the Little Mermaid, you kind of can see the downgrade of the animation in a way, but it was okay. It was fine. Even though the one thing I didn't like is basically they repeated the formula of kind of hey, let's bring back Ursula, but this time we're gonna introduce a sister.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, why do you have to make a sister a squid? You could have easily made her look like I don't know, like a shark or something. Like why has to be a squid? Okay, part of the squid family, yay! But overall, the sister had almost the same personality as Ursula. Let's be fair.
Same voice actress too.
Yeah, just more lively and more let's just say psychotic. Ursula was more like diabolical criminal mastermind type of villain.
But I think that movie was interesting though. That movie was one of Tara Strong's, I think, first roles.
Yes. I think you're telling the truth. Yeah, I think you're right. It was one of the first ones, but for me personally, they were fine, but they weren't great. Oof, let me see what else. I have seen a lot of sequels. For example, Winnie the Pooh had so many sequels, so many. You don't know. Okay, one more. Was Ryan saying right now? With Disney's obsession on doing live action of their animations, do you see a live action Winnie the Pooh with the popularity of Paddington? Well, we kind of got that one with the Christopher Robin, so
Yeah.
yeah.
It
So
wasn't bad.
no, it wasn't bad. It was basically, let's face reality. It was basically kind of like Hook
Yeah.
in a way, So, but I still liked it. I still felt in a way it was original. Like for example, Maleficent was as well.
Mhm.
I thought it was a kind of original, and I liked even McGregor in that role, definitely. So, but actually, a remake of Winnie the Pooh of like the actual anime movie. Oh shit no! Please let Snow White be the end of it.
I would say if they
Please.
were going to do it, they'd have to make sure they get Jim Cummings.
Oh, definitely. And Jim Cummings will definitely do it. If
Yeah.
he did it for Christopher Robin, I think he would have done it the same way. But anyway, oof. I mean, again, I could go on and on, but like let me put it this way when it comes to Disney sequels. Let me put it this way. Most of the sequels I've seen, some of them were good. Some of them for me were great. Yes, some of them were great for me. But the majority of them for me were like solid. They were like fine, nothing special. Let's put it that
Hey,
way.
can you do an advertisement real quick? I need to run really quickly. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no problem at all. No problem at all. And now we have a word from our sponsor, FRC. What you're selling to us today?
Me, I'm the sponsor. I'd like to give some recommendation out to my channel, Film Review Central, where we like to make the conversation about film and TV sound a little bit more interesting. You can see that man right there on my channel several times on my live series, FRC Live. We talk about some really great relevant news topics, as well as the latest movie and TV releases. This is my second stream of the night. I streamed earlier on my channel on my the series TV episode reviews. We're going through the Legend of Vox Machina season 3 at the moment, which we're very much excited to watch. Plus some horror movie reviews that are coming in the month of October. So yeah, that's who's sponsoring the Shadow Council today, the Film Review Central YouTube channel. Go give it a like and subscribe.
Nice. For me personally, I have one more commercial. Feeling drowsy? Feeling uncomfortable? Having a problem with your back? No problem. Well, here comes the Ursula bed, where you get squeezed by tentacles instead of a bed sheet. So, if you want a bed like that, then come on down to Atlantis. We're going to sell it 95% off. Come on down.
We're also sponsored by Mephisto Forever. Mephisto's coming, folks.
And partnership with Pink Trident.
No, what is happening? Honestly, how is Mephisto coming by the conversation now?
I'm sorry. I promised him. He had to do it. I mean,
did you? All right.
Now, let's go a little bit more detail, shall we? Like,
by the way, Not Your Normal Geek. If you want to see a good live action Winnie the Pooh, watch Blood and Honey and Blood and Honey 2.
No.
Oh shit! Fucking hell! Where did you went with it? Oh my god!
I think he has. I think Ryan has. I'm a subscriber to his channel. I think he has watched it. I think he's reviewed it as well.
Oh god, no. Anyway, let's go back. Here's a question I have for you two. Name your top 3 favorite Disney songs.
In order.
No. However you wish. But remember, top 3.
The Bare Necessities. I Want to Be Like You. And We Don't Talk About Bruno.
Wow, 2 of Jungle Book and 1 Kanto. Interesting.
Yes.
All right then, TK.
Okay, well, my number 1. This is the Thanks I Get.
Okay.
My number 2. I need to think. I better just let it go. That's my answer, by the way. Let it go.
Okay.
And then number 3,
Okay.
Hakuna Matata.
Wonderful.
I hear it's a wonderful phrase.
Yeah. And ain't no bursting craze. Okay, now for me, let's see, top 3, easy. Hi ho, never had a friend like me. Be prepared.
Mm.
And I mean the Jeremy Irons / Jim Cummings. Be prepared. The bullshit of the live action version.
That still blows my mind that Jim Cummings took over for Jeremy Irons. Like,
I mean, when you blow your voice like he did with, you weren't gonna sniff without me. Like, it is what it is, But one thing I will say, when they had the Disney celebration of the anniversary of The Lion King, I was still very happy that Jeremy Irons finally, sang the song, all the way till the end. I was really, really happy for him. So yeah,
this isn't Disney animation, but one thing, anybody who's watching who's a Disney fan, one thing that's a great tie-in for all the old Disney movies, and they take some risks with it. It's live action, but it's something worth mentioning, and I think I enjoyed it. Of course, I grew up with Disney. Is Once Upon a Time. It's a great tie-in with all the old animated Disney movies. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, now here's another question for you. Who is, in all the Disney movies and TV shows, you can pick whichever you want, but who is your favorite overall Disney character ever?
I'm going to say Baloo.
Okay. Okay, great choice. What about you, TK?
I bet you can't guess.
Okay, we're going with Goofy. All right then. Okay, for me, okay, this might be a little unfair.
Wait, whoever it is, do the voice.
Beg your pardon?
Whoever it is, do the voice.
Oh, that'll be a little bit hard. Okay, I'll try. Hi! 10,000 years will give you such a crick in the neck. Hang on just a second. You guessed it, the genie. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I mean, I would have actually put one of the 7 dwarves, but that would be kind of like unfair. So I was like, you know what? I'm going with the genie. Definitely of all the characters that existed, the genie is definitely my favorite. I mean, like, people are correct. When the genie appears in Aladdin, that's where the movie explodes. Literally, like, oh my god, like from the very, very beginning when he appeared, like, hello, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the show. Hey, where do you come from? What's your name? Aladdin. Aladdin. Hello, Aladdin. Nice to have you on the show. Can we go to Al or maybe just Dan? Or how about Aladdin? Oh my god. I just love, like, and every single fucking impression that he did, from like from Beast to Jack Nicholson to French to, like, old Roman Empire. Oh my god, like oh my god, the genie is definitely my favorite character in all of Disney.
R.I.P. Robin Williams.
Oh yeah, Robin Williams really mastered that role. I will say this: in the Aladdin animated series, I will give praises to I always forgot his name, the guy who voices Homer Simpson.
I know who you're talking about.
He voiced the genie in Return of Jafar and the animated series, and I will say this: I give him credit. What he tried to accomplish, I mean, he was trying to mimic Robin Williams in a way, but also in the same time kind of like adding something of his own. I respect his performance. I really do, what he was trying to accomplish, but Robin Williams, like, he mastered.
It's amazing with Aladdin. You had 2 like huge comedians in that. You had Robin Williams and you had Gilbert Gottfried.
Oh my god, yeah. As Iago. Oh my, that's amazing. That was so amazing. Now, which kind of reminds me, which voice role is your favorite, or should I say, voice cast in Disney is your favorite?
The Lion King for me.
No, I meant actor.
Oh, what? What actor linked to a role? What, the actor that works for a role?
Yeah.
I have two. I have Robin Williams as Genie, and James L. Jones as Mufasa.
Okay, great. What about you, TK?
I think Jim Cummings, just because he's so versatile. Like, you watch him in Winnie the Pooh, and then you watch him in Goof Troop as Pete.
Mm-hmm.
I'd also say the other one is Bill Farmer.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the two I'm going with.
Okay, now for me personally, when it comes to voice cast, like when we go like with movies, I'm going with Robin Williams, Jeremy Irons, Tony Jay, and just for the fun of it, I'm also going to add Keith David as Dr. Facilier in Prince and the Frog.
Okay.
Those four are my favorite. Now when it comes to Disney animated TV shows, it's very difficult because let's just say 70% of the roles are Jim Cummings. But I mean, it's a little bit unfair. And now I did say this is mostly we're not going to talk about Pixar, but there is one TV show they kind of connected to one of the Pixar properties, which I also think is one of the most underappreciated TV shows. I don't know if you ever watched the TK, but it's basically Buzz Lightyear of Star Command.
Yes.
That is such a great show. I know it's based on Pixar, but technically Disney made it. If you look at it, Disney made it. And again, the guy who voiced Buzz Lightyear, I don't know, but strangely, I preferred him more than Tim Allen. Honestly, as Buzz Lightyear. I know this could be controversial, but like I know there's something about his performance in that TV show that I really, really liked. Even though, I mean, you could kind of also say that they voiced them separately. Like Tim Allen voices the toy version, and this guy, I always forget his name. He was also Kronk in Emperor's New Groove.
Patrick Warburton.
Thank you. And he voiced the fictional character of Buzz Lightyear that the toy was based on. So you can kind of make a conversation that kind of they're both voicing separate versions. You could put it that way as well.
Well, then here comes the question. So, Not Your Normal Geek looks like he just commented his favorite would have to be Woody and Buzz. Now, they're two Pixar-related characters.
Okay.
But having Buzz Lightyear Star Command, which is related to Pixar, but at Disney Animation, that would mean that Buzz Lightyear could be a valid choice then.
Okay. Before I answer your question, I would just want to show quickly this comment by Ryan again. My favorite will have to be Woody/Buzz. Too hard to pick. Much is said about Disney, but they have so many amazing characters that would be up there. Okay. Fair enough. Okay, back to your question.
So, Buzz and Woody would technically be Pixar.
Yeah.
Because of that animated Buzz Lightyear Star Command show, I think we could put Buzz Lightyear in the Disney column too, though. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I mean, I do agree that because since technically Buzz Lightyear of Star Command was literally, is literally under Disney, they don't actually made him under Pixar, basically. So you kind of say Buzz Lightyear, only Buzz Lightyear is actually both Disney and Pixar character in a way, but only him. Even for example, if they made a TV show about Woody, I think it would have been the same thing. So now one more thing I want to ask, one more question. I know we mentioned that before in the Disney villains podcast live stream, but who is your favorite Disney villain? Again, from anywhere you want to pick. Who is your favorite Disney villain?
I think I'm going to go with the animals. I'm going to go Shere Khan and Scar.
Okay. All right. How about you, TK? Who is your favorite villain?
I don't know, I'm torn between Scar and Magnifico.
Okay, for me, I already know the answer. I'm going with the most darkest of all the Disney villains, Judge Claude Frollo from Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Mm.
I'm going with him. Like he is literally my number one. He's literally my number one favorite Disney villain out of all of them. You know, like everything about him was great. Man, and again, Hellfire, such an iconic song. You know, it really is. Oh my God. Yeah, there's so many great things about him. You know, like I mean, from like the speeches, from the song, and everything. He's definitely my number one. And also, if you include his actions, he's definitely like the most evil of them all.
You know, that made me think. This goes back to something we were talking about earlier. So the Lion King, how they did the original and then they did the live action, and we talked about how they kind of like shredded "Be Prepared," which really pissed a lot of people off, myself included.
Me as well.
The thing I never understood about the remake is also why did they change the relationship between the hyenas and Scar? Because in the animated movie they knew Scar and they were friends, and the live action, like they had just met Scar after they had chased Simba and Nala through the elephant graveyard.
And also, they also didn't have the same personalities. Like in the animated version.
Like I don't understand that change. That change really like made no. It didn't like further the story at all, and it didn't like really like do anything. Like it didn't really give us like any other like insight into them or anything else.
See, that's the problem, because like nowadays, like you know, they want to have. You know, especially in live action, like every single classical villain that we all knew and loved from like, well, not exactly from the Jungle Book, but like, you know, like from Beauty and the Beast all the way to now where we are now. Every single classical villain, they try to give an explanation, like, you know, or why they became villain, that we have to sympathize with them. We have to understand them. We have to feel pity for them, and all of them. Like, why can't they be just evil?
The only one I think that worked with having an explanation with was LeFou.
Okay, yeah, okay. He was the only one that was kind of explained. Yeah. I mean, okay,
worked.
Yeah, and also, okay, Gaston, they didn't actually touch him that much. He was kind of like, you know, the same as he was in animation. So, you know, so I didn't have any, like, you know, I think that for him, I didn't have any complaints. But everyone else, you know, for me personally, they ruined their reputation as villains. For me personally, like they ruined their legacy for me. You know, so man, I really hope, you know, that they stop doing the live action thing, because if they want to do live action, then do original stories, for God's sake. Like, you know, why do you have to do reboots or remakes of classic ones? Seriously. Yeah. So looks like don't worry, guys. Like, you know, the live stream is still going on, but it looks like we're gonna lose one of our Shadow Council members for this one.
Yes, yeah, I've got to go. It's been a busy day at work, and obviously 2 live streams as well takes that out of you. But I just want to thank our fearless leader, Lord of Shadows. Thank you very much for having me on. TK, always a pleasure to see your lovely face, my friend. Thank you very, very. And I will see you on the next episode. Thank you very much for having me on. Film Review Central, my channel link is in the description if you want to go and subscribe as well. And subscribe to Lord of Shadows, by the way. Can I just say, have a moment to say how good he's doing at the moment with all his incredible streams. That Lord of the Rings Season 2 review was top class. Absolutely fantastic. So keep checking out loads of live streams he's been doing on the channel. He's one of my dear friends, been friends for a long time now. So he's absolutely fantastic. So you've got to give him a subscription. Anyway, that's me. See you in a bit, guys.
See you soon. Okay, now it's just you and me this time. Like always, actually. Like it always was. But anyway, so I want to say this. Now, are you still like, you know, okay, doing the live stream and everything?
Yep.
Okay. Now, the one thing, you know, we talk a lot about, like, you know, this, like, you know, Disney movies and everything, like the big ones and everything. But like there's one thing I will say this. There's one thing that the Disney is missing when it comes to like doing anime movies. I mean, they used to do them like a couple of times, but I really wish to see them do this again. But which is basically do more movies about Mickey, Donald, and Goofy.
Yeah. The last one they did about them was it the Three Musketeers?
Yeah. Well, the Three Musketeers, but then later on they also did the Christmas, kind of like movies as well. Which is kind of like which were kind of like basically it's not exactly a movie. It's basically how can I put this? A story that has like 3 or 2 like mini a movie that is based on like few mini stories. Basically, let's put it that way. But like for example, like one of my favorite movies. Unfortunately, it's not in my top 5, but like definitely in my top 10 is the Goofy movie.
Yes,
I love that movie. Like because this is one of those movies. Because to be fair, when it comes to Disney,
I think we see eye to eye on that one.
Oh yeah, and sometimes we do need a break from modern living.
Yes.
Yeah, but I will say this: like when it comes to like if we go back to the good old like the Disney animated shorts, with like Mickey, Donald, Goofy, Pluto, and so on and so forth. I was never a fan of Goofy shorts.
Yeah,
because like especially the narrating thing. I never liked it. Like Mickey, the only time I liked Goofy was when they were like Mickey, Donald, and Goofy together.
Yeah.
That was like the only time I liked Goofy, like for example, when they were building the boat or cleaning the clock tower or like when they were whale hunting or even like there was the theater short.
Yes.
When they were like, had this like, spectacle for like the orphans and everything. Or when they were like, on a vacation, which kind of looked like Hawaii or something. Like those were only the times when I really fell in love with Goofy. But the movie itself, the Goofy movie,
mm-hmm.
It made me fall in love with the Goofy character even more and more, and that movie is freaking hilarious from top to bottom. Oh my God. Like there's so many great moments, and I will even go as far as say, I'm one of the rarest people who actually like the Extremely Goofy movie.
Yeah. I like that too. That was good.
Yeah. Because a lot of people didn't like it because like they felt like it wasn't as special as the first Goofy movie was. But they really like the idea of like Max going to college and like Goofy losing his job and also going to college and also kind of like finding his girlfriend and everything, which I will say is that girl was perfect for Goofy.
Now, which came first? Did Kovu come first, or did Max? Did I'm trying to remember. I'm going to look that up. I'm curious now.
What was the question?
I'm curious if Jason Marsden got Max first or if he got Kovu first.
Oh.
Let's see.
I'm not sure about that one. Like, what was first?
Okay, so that was 98. So let's see. So, okay. So he had Max first. Okay.
Okay. Oh, wait, you're talking about the also Goof Troop.
Yeah. So Jason Marsden wasn't in that one.
Yeah, in Goof Troop, the actress who voiced Max was God rest her soul. It was what was her name? Dana Hill.
Yes,
Dana Hill. She was the one. Yeah, she was the one who voiced Max in Goof Troop, and she also did a really freaking good job. Which is basically the Goof Troop was supposed to be a prequel to the Goofy movie.
Yes,
basically, and again. Also, one of my favorite TV shows when it comes to Disney. I loved the Goof Troop, the comedy in it, just like the movie. It was really great. Oh my God, that also. I know Jim Cummings has been voicing that character for a long time, but like that's also one of my favorite Pete performances ever.
The only issue I have with the Goofy movie and Extremely Goofy movie is they kind of get rid of Peg and Pistol without any explanation. Now, if the explanation was Pete got divorced, I think everybody would buy that. I don't think there's anybody who would but I kind of wish they would have given some sort of, even if it was just like a brief explanation or a passing remark.
Mm,
I wish
yeah.
they did that.
I think the main problem was like because Goof Troop came before. Goof Troop came after the Goofy movie. So I kind of like so maybe like when they were doing the first movie, they were like okay, they were not like planning to have like an actual story for Pete. So I get it, but at least how they could have fixed that. At least they could have like mentioned Peg or
Pistol.
Pistol. Thank you, Peg and Pistol. At least what they could have done, kind of like fixing it. They could have mentioned them in the Extremely Goofy movie.
Yes.
Now, kind of
the other thing I just thought of is I'm just gonna say because I think everybody knows it. Pete in Goof Troop, and I would say in a Goofy movie and an Extremely Goofy movie. I mean, everybody knows he was just a very cleaned up and age appropriate and kid appropriate version of Al Bundy.
Yes, in a way, yes, he was, and I do agree on that. And again, I told you, like I love Jim Cummings as Pete in Goofy movie and in Extremely Goofy movie. Even though in the Extremely Goofy movie his role was like smaller, but in Goof Troop, that's where I love Pete the most. Like he was fucking hilarious in that one. And again, one of my most favorite performances from Jim Cummings as Pete. One of my favorite performance of them all. Like I love them. Like the every time when he's angry or sneaky or going crazy, when he's like happy. Like I loved Pete in that show. I really loved him. He actually made me love the Goofy movie Pete and the Extremely Goofy movie Pete even more. I loved him. Even though fair enough, my very first introduction to Pete was actually in DuckTales because he did appear a couple of times in that one.
That was
actually
I thought about that.
Yeah, that was actually the first time I was introduced to Pete. Actually, that, and also the second time I was introduced to Pete was when he was in an episode with Donald Duck as like a lumberjack type of thing. When they're basically at the end, they were chasing each other on the train tracks. It was that kind of a short. I don't remember exactly how it went, but it was something like that. So those were my two times I was introduced to Pete. Now I want to ask you this: which was of the original Disney characters? Which was your first one? Like to which you were first introduced?
Mm. Goofy.
Okay. For me, it was actually Donald Duck. I was introduced to Donald Duck first, and then later on Mickey and the others.
I only have one problem with Donald Duck. Goofy can wear pants. Mickey can wear pants. Why doesn't Donald wear pants? He should wear pants. I mean,
who knows?
How does he not get reported for indecent exposure? I don't get that.
Maybe he made a very special contract to be a semi-nudist duck. Who knows?
That could be.
Maybe like he's not like fully proud to be a nudist, but more like a semi-nudist. Like what, to keep the cold, to kind of like protect myself from the cold. I'm gonna like I'll be half dressed basically.
That could be. That's possible.
Yeah, it could be possible. Even though right now behind their back I can see Donald Duck going like. Like going like this, like come on, like you want a piece of me, with his like kind of like voice and everything. But yeah, like for me, well, first was Donald Duck, and I was introduced to him in the shorts, not like through DuckTales or the movies, or even another show. Actually, it's kind of like underappreciated, but also kind of like also a little bit forgotten. Is the what was it called? When you had Huey, Dewey, and Huey as like teenagers. It was like Mishmash Quack Quack or something.
Oh,
They were like much more older than what they were usually shown. Like they were like teenagers or something. Do you know which TV show I'm talking about?
I don't.
What was that called? Just give me a second. Give me a second. Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Just give me a second. Give me a second. Oh, there it is. Okay, Quack Pack.
Yeah.
Quack Pack. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. That's another TV show that kind of went under the radar very early on. When it comes to Disney TV shows, and I do remember watching it like on in the Italian dub, even in the German dub as well. And then later on, I saw it like in English. But I really like that TV show. Even though it's kind of like very classic, kind of like Huey, Dewey, Louie, Donald Duck type of like TV show. But I like the idea they were like more adult, like they were like more like teenagers in some sort of way. Because like when you see them in DuckTales and other like versions, they're basically kids.
Mhm.
In that one, they were more like kind of like young adults. Let's put it that way. That's for sure. Now, there's another thing. Yeah. Now, one thing also that they don't do this anymore, like they used to, But one of the things you and I both know is that for a lot of like Disney movies, they do TV shows.
Mhm.
Out of them, either like prequels or completely original, or like sequels or prequels.
Mhm.
So I want to ask you, out of all of them, which is like your favorite and least favorite?
And these are Disney animated shows, right?
Yes, Disney animated shows, but they're based on the movies. By the way, Tailspin doesn't count.
Okay, favorite would be Lilo and Stitch.
Awesome. Next,
Um,
least favorite.
Least favorite would be. I think I'm going to do. I have one, but it's kind of the reverse opposite. So
Okay.
it's a TV show that a movie
right.
was based on.
Mm-hmm.
And with that one, I'm going to say Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers.
Okay.
I like the TV show. The movie itself, I wasn't nuts about.
Are you talking about the live action thing?
Yeah.
Okay. Not a big fan of Chip and Dale movie. Not a big fan of that. Even though, again, I like the idea what they had, but like honestly, not a big fan of it. But I am a big fan of the show. Big fan of the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. That's for sure. So wait, let me get this straight. Your most favorite is Lilo and Stitch, the series.
Yeah.
But the least one you would say is the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers movie.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. For me personally, I will go my favorite of all the TV shows, like again, based on movies. My favorite one, it will definitely be. Let me think. Because I've seen a lot of them. But let me think. You know what? I'm sticking with you, just like what you said. I'm sticking with Lilo and Stitch, the series. I'm definitely sticking with that. One of the things that also I love about Lilo and Stitch is that how many different crossovers they did.
Mm-hmm.
They did one with Recess. They did one with Kim Possible. They did another one with what was that family called?
Oh, the Proud Family. I forgot
Yes.
about that show.
Yeah, the Proud Family. Even though I was never a fan of the show, I am familiar with the characters. So they did those three crossovers, and all crossovers actually were pretty good. But I really like the idea, how they went with the idea to create a TV show, especially the way how that Lilo and Stitch movie ended. Basically them hunting down experiments and finding a home for them. Basically, I really like that. I really did like that. Now, my least favorite TV show. Oof, that's a tough one. That's a tough one. Of the movies that were, oh my god, that really is a tough one. You know what? What was it called? Let me just give me a second. Okay. So my least favorite one, I would say this: it's a mixture of Tangled TV show and 101 Dalmatians series.
Wait, which 101 Dalmatian series?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
Do you mean the original one, or do you mean the 101 Dalmatian Street?
No. The 101 Dalmatians, they came out from 1997 all the way to 1998. That's like those are two shows for me that are based on movies that I wasn't a big fan of. Again, that's just me. Now, I want to ask you this. Now, we've been through a lot of that, but when it comes to this is gonna be a tough one. Like, which is your favorite original Disney TV show? Original.
I'm going to put it a tie between American Dragon, Jake Long, and Kim Possible.
But I will say this is gonna make you happy because my favorite original Disney TV show is actually Kim Possible. Yeah, I mean, I kid you not. When I was in elementary school, people made fun of me. Like some people even call me, I mean, I know I am rude, but I'm not gonna be that rude. But like basically, they call me F thing for basically loving a TV show that is like for girls. But there is something about Kim Possible that I really liked, like from the story. I love the characters. The villains were amazing.
Mm-hmm.
From Draken, Shigo, Duff Killigan, Monkey Fist, Professor Dementor, DN Amy, voiced by freaking like Melissa McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like every single one of them. By the way, did you know that the actress who voiced Shigo voices the mother in The Secret Saturday?
Oh yeah.
I forgot about that. But anyway, like they had so many great episodes, and even though the stories were basically kind of like episode per episode, but they had like an overall connection. I mean, would you agree? Like an overall story.
Yeah.
They had it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong because I haven't watched the show in a long time. But Kim Possible at the end of the show, she finished high school.
Yes.
Okay. Now,
originally, So the Drama was supposed to be like the series finale, and then I guess like the fans petitioned them, or they petitioned the Disney Channel or something, and they renewed it for a 4th season.
Oh wait, the finale was supposed to be the when Draken made that the entire robot army.
Yeah.
Actually, if they made this as a finale, I wouldn't actually complain.
I'm kind of glad we got a season of Kim and Ron dating.
Yeah, I agree on that. I agree on that as well.
Because that was something that, like, after they did that in the movie, I was kind of curious to see how that would like actually play out in the show. So I'm kind of glad that however they got petitioned to renew it. I'm glad that worked out that way because I think it needed that 4th season. I mean, it could have ended with So the Drama. I agree with you. I think that was a strong movie and a strong end. But I think it was the kind of show that like it could have ended there, but that movie justified and made the case for another season. And I mean, I thought the 4th season and how they actually wound up ending the show was really strong.
I agree.
I also thought it was kind of cool how they hinted at a romance between Draken and Shigo.
I mean, To be fair, I sensed their relationship from the very beginning.
Yeah.
That there is something between them much more than just boss and like second in command.
Yeah.
Mm.
I also like how Draken and Shigo kind of like wound up helping to save the day in the end there.
Yeah.
But I also kind of like, I wasn't overly surprised by that because they like always like, they seem like the kind of villains that like were evil, but like it wouldn't be too hard to turn them. And if they ever decide to go back, because they were going back and revisiting all these shows and doing spinoffs and everything, if they ever decide to go back and revisit Kim Possible and do a Draken Shigo spinoff, I would so be down.
Ooh, I'll be down for that as well. Oh my god! And
I think
seeing
they can
also,
make it work. I think they
I
can
think-
easily make it work.
yeah, I mean, I would even be all for it if they made like a Draken Shigo spin-off, like where the show actually ended. We're kind of like you see them kind of like working for the government now, and kind of like being kind of like making like basically making them kind of like their own different duo, like Kim and Ron were.
I
Basically,
can also partially see, and they're different like creators and everything, but they could do it. I think it would just be, they'd have to animate them differently. But I could also see if the Phineas and Ferb revival wanted to, and they could get permission to. I'd love to see Draken and Doofenshmirtz team up.
Oh my god!
I'd love to see that.
But that'll be crazy to see. That's for sure. But the one thing I will say, when it comes to the finale, there is one thing that I would have loved to see that was actually in the show, and that is like because like when we had the finale where Manga and the other alien basically invaded the planet, and basically like in that same story you had like Draken and Kim Possible and Shigo and Ron. Now I really love that. It kind of made me wishing that there was an episode where basically you had Shigo and Draken working together, and then like you had one where Ron and Draken and Kim Possible working together, and the other episode where you have Shigo and Ron working together. I literally would have loved that they made an episode like that, or at least two episodes. Like how they do episodes where like one episode is like one side of the story, and then the second episode is like the other side. So that they could have easily made that as well, in a way. I mean, I would say this: an episode with Ron and Shigo, that would be like a barrel of laughs.
That made me think. The guy who played Junior, I might be wrong.
Wait, I think I know who played him. Just Junior.
Nestor Carb. Yeah, that's what I thought it was. I think that's the guy I'm thinking of.
Senior, Junior. He was voiced by Nestor Carbonell.
What's crazy about that is I think I need to look and see because I want to make sure he also was.
Oh yeah, I know this guy.
He was also the mayor in The Dark Knight Rises and The Dark Knight.
Yes, he was. Yeah. I mean, Kim Possible also had a lot of great like actual actors voicing. Like for example, you had Patton Oswalt as Professor Dementor. You had Melissa McCarthy as Dee and Amy. You had senior, like the freaking Ricardo Montalban. You had him.
One thing I never hear people talking about with Kim Possible, though, is I don't know if he was the first in Disney animation. He might have been. He wasn't openly, but he might have been the first or one of the first LGBTQ characters, Junior.
Wait, wasn't he in a relationship with Kim Possible's rival?
I don't know. I mean, he was.
No.
He struck me like he could have been. I don't know.
No. Because like, if you've seen like the way how the show ended, senior, junior ended up. He ended up in a relationship with the high school rival of Kim Possible.
You're right.
Yeah. First, he was attracted to Kim because the soulmate thing
right.
with that book. Then he had a relationship with Shigo, and then he fell in love with the rival of Kim Possible.
I always felt like he that they want that maybe they originally intended him to be in the LGBTQ community. I don't know.
I don't know. Like for me personally, he was the way how I saw him. He's basically they gave him that stereotypical like macho type of like Latino character type of like build up and everything. So that's at least how I saw him.
Oh,
But
there was.
overall,
We're forgetting a villain. Also Wade Taj Mowry.
Yeah. I mean, the Kim Possible had a lot of great villains in it. Like, again, from Draken, Shigo, Dove Killigan, Monkey Fist, Senior, Junior. From Warmonger to the other alien that was voiced by Ron Perlman. Then there was shit. What was that? What was that girl's name? The shapeshifter.
Oh, Camille Leon.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I know that there was like a play on words on her name. There was her, and then I remember there was like a guy Gemini. I think
I just now got that play on words with her name. I just now got that.
Did you really got it?
Yeah, I just now got. I just now got the why that was clever. Oh my god.
Yeah. Then there was also the villain that was kind of like the parody of the Black Lagoon creature.
Yes.
Yeah, which is kind of like the old camp buddy of Ron.
Remember that episode? There was a bus of circus clowns. I remember Barkin said, "Those poor clowns."
Yeah.
I just burst out laughing when he said that. Those poor clowns.
Oh my god! I mean, I would say Ron Stoppable. Sometimes he really got on my nerves, but sometimes I really liked him.
They didn't have enough episodes with Ron and Barkin. They should have. They should have done like more. They could have had like one a season. They could have had like one or two a season because I thought that was a dynamic that I really loved. It was. I mean, so funny.
They only had 2 episodes with them. I mean, there was one when he was like already the monster, and there was the second one when where he was kind of like back to normal, and then later on he basically transformed again back to the creature of the Black Lagoon, basically. But also there's an episode in Kim Possible I remember that I really, really liked, and that was basically when Dr. Draken was possessed by Ghost Pirate.
Oh yes.
That episode was crazy. Oh my god, I love that episode. I really did. Yeah.
What did you think of the live action Kim Possible movie?
No comment about that.
I was torn on it. I mean, I didn't mind it. The thing that I kind of was a little bit pissed at was how they changed Rufus's origin, and how they like essentially made Rufus a naked Morat. They didn't really give him any dialogue. Anything. That part kind of bothered me. I think if they'd gone and done, if they'd used Rufus how they usually use him, it would have actually been a fair. I mean, other than that, I thought it was good for what it was supposed to be. I didn't think it was great, but I thought for what it was supposed to be, it was okay. It was good. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like Disney did a lot of like original TV shows back then. Like again, Kim Possible or Phineas and Ferb are just one of them. Like for example, like we said, the Gargoyles. There's also Recess. Oh my god, I love Recess. There was also shit. There was so many. I mean, I wasn't gonna say The Adventures of Gummy Bears, DuckTales, Darkwing Duck, even Tailspin. There are so many great original TV shows that Disney did. Which is something that when it comes to today, that is something that they very rarely do today.
Yeah, they don't have any TV shows that like for example, and I know I'm probably gonna get a lot of hate for saying this, but like a show like Big City Greens, I just don't get it. Or like another show a lot of people are into, and I just don't get the appeal of it. Is what's that show with Luce?
What?
Oh, Loose. What's the show? Loose. The Owl House.
Oh, honestly, if the design of the animation was different, I would have watched it.
I don't know that I could just. I don't know, for some reason I just never could get into that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I've read a little bit about the Owl House, and it has an interesting story, but the style of it, I didn't like. I don't like that style, the type of design and animation. So I never give it a watch. Even though story wise, I did read about it, what it's all about and everything, and it sounds interesting. But again, a show that wasn't for me. The latest TV shows I remember that I watched, kind of like fresh in a way, that I actually really enjoyed them, were the Big Hero 6 series. I really enjoyed that one, and the Disney Iwaju they did. Those are the two latest Disney TV shows I really enjoyed watching. Because besides that, there was not like any interesting ones for years for me.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it might be partially a casting issue, because I mean, a lot of the older shows had like the big names like Jim Cummings, Bill Farmer, and like really
Frank Welker.
Yeah, and like really like staple Disney people, Christy Carlson Romano, and also some of the voice actors and actresses in the animated shows were also kind of crossovers insofar as they were also main cast members in a lot of the live action comedy shows, the sitcom shows.
Yeah.
Like Raven Simone was Monique. I'm trying to think who else. Ricky Allman was in So the Drama. He was the Synthro clone thing. And then you had I'm trying to think. You had and I'm trying to think of the other cast members. I mean, you had Jim Cummings. You had and like nowadays, I mean, I'm not saying you don't have like recognizable voice actors and cast and stuff, but I don't think you have like anything similar to what it was before. So I think that might be part of it, is you don't have like the cast who.
I mean, back then you had so many great voice actors, from like Jim Cummings, Phil Lamar, Frank Welker, Peter Cullen, Maurice LaMarche, G. Bradley Baker, or Dietrich Bader. I always have a problem pronouncing his name. Or like the guy who voiced Kronk in Emperor's New Groove. Like you had even him. There are so many great voice actors that work for Disney all those years back on, and now like one thing that really kind of saddens me is that that most of these actors today, that they're not getting any jobs when it comes to Disney.
Yeah,
like the only jobs they gave, even like who was the guy who voices Goofy? Farbuckle.
Oh, Bill Farmer.
Yeah, Bill Farmer. Sorry, Bill Farmer. Like even them, like the only time when you see them get any work is basically when they're voicing characters like Mickey Mouse, Goofy, Donald Duck, and the rest. Like that's the only time. But when it comes to like other TV shows, nothing.
Well, I think
they get nothing.
The problem is, I mean, the roles I think they were casting in those shows, they're too iconic, and I think they kind of are tied too much to those roles.
I mean, look, seriously, Jim Cummings. Like, look, if one of these voice actors that's still going on is, for example, Mark Hamill.
Yeah,
he's still going forward with voice when it comes to voice cast. So if he can do it, why not? Look, or even Kevin Michael Richardson, even he's moving forward. Like, and he was still like present, especially in the '90s with Jim Cummings and the rest of the original team. So if they can get jobs, why not the original ones? I mean, Frank Welker, besides Scooby-Doo and Fred, I'm sorry to say this, but he doesn't do any work besides those two roles. Maybe sometimes some growl or monster voices or things like that, but that's it.
We might have to exclude Wayne Alleyne and Rusty Taylor though, because they
actually
passed away.
Yeah, that is true.
Although it's kind of funny, the original voice actors of Mickey and Minnie, or at least maybe two of the most recognizable ones, were actually married in real life.
Yeah, yeah, that is true.
I don't know if that was the case whenever they were cast in those roles, or if they like intended it that way. But that kind of actually works out. That kind of actually worked out.
That is true. That is true. Now, I want to ask you a question. I'm kind of going back to the Disney movies this time. Now, oh yeah, one more thing. Remember when we were talking about the sequels?
Yeah.
You know, actually, which sequels they worked for me as an overall trilogy when it comes to like Disney, because that's very rare. But I will say this: I loved all the Cinderella movies.
Okay, that's fair.
One of my favorite one is definitely the second one where you have those like mini stories.
Yeah.
Basically, what was happening with many different characters. My favorite part is the Anastasia part. I love that storyline with the baker. I love that one.
Yes.
And the third one, with the kind of like going back in time, and the mother like the stepmother takes Lady Tremaine. She took the wand and everything. I really, really. Oh, we have a comment here. Pop in,
Caroline.
keep it up.
Thanks, Caroline.
Well, thank you for the comment. Thank you. Keep it up. We'll try our best. That's for sure. We'll try our best. Thank you for the comment. Anyway, like Cinderella, like when it comes to as a trilogy overall, Cinderella is the only one I think like I love all three movies, basically. Especially like the third one with the wand, Lady Tremaine taking it and everything. I felt like it was like very in a way original and creative, in a way, because like for example, the Aladdin movies, I love the first one. The second one was fine, but it wasn't one of my favorites. The third one, however, for me was great. When basically Aladdin met his father, so again, that's the one thing I just wanted to say. Like the Cinderella sequels are like the Cinderella movies are the only ones like out of all the franchises that I really love as a trilogy, basically.
I really loved. I loved. This is gonna be stupid.
Go ahead.
I love the Lion King 2, Simba's Pride. Whatever they're at the beginning when they're babysitting Kiara, and Simba jumps in the water, and he's like, "Where's Kiara?" And Timon's like, "Pumbaa, let me redefine babysitting."
Oh my god, I remember that. Oh my god.
I thought the Lion King 2 was actually a fairly solid sequel. I mean, it was essentially the Lion King 1 was a take on Hamlet with animals. I mean, the Lion King 2 was a take on Romeo and Juliet, but with animals. So, I mean, the stories weren't, I wouldn't call either of the two stories original necessarily, but I thought that as far as sequels go, The Lion King 2 Simba's Pride was a pretty good sequel. I also liked The Lion King 1.5. I thought that was
the one with the Timon and Pumbaa.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. I mean,
for the most part, it wasn't like the stellar, like top of the line, but I liked it. It was good for what it was.
I would say the comedy for me was the only thing I liked about this that movie. Like, for example, I mean, the story-wise, I like the origin of how Timon and Pumbaa met, but the overall jokes were the thing that I really liked. Like, for example, the theater thing, when they're like, go back and forth and kind of like talking, and especially at the end where you have the shadow figures of all these Disney characters coming to watch the movie. That was hilarious. That was brilliant.
I love when Timon tries to flirt with Shenzi.
Yeah.
The odd thing about that is if they ever wanted to do that, if they ever actually wanted to take that thread and pick up on it anywhere else again, I wouldn't be too opposed to it.
Honestly, me neither.
Timon and Shenzi in a relationship, I could almost see that. It would be weird. It would be different. It would be out there, but I could almost see that working.
Somehow even I can in a very bizarre way, but like even I can see that coming.
It shouldn't work, but now I will say Nathan Lane being Timon, I mean, nobody can touch that voice.
Oh no. I mean, like honestly, like for me, it was kind of like a wooden stick through my heart when I've seen the live action versions of them.
Yeah, the live action versions, I didn't mind that movie too much, but I felt like Timon and Pumbaa, they really didn't do, like, Timon didn't sound bad. He just sounded more like cocky to me, or more, not cocky, but what's the word? Stuck up, I guess.
Yeah.
Pumbaa sounded like a stoner. Like I was kind of thinking to myself,
Hey.
They shouldn't be taking Simba back with them.
You have Seth Rogen voicing Pumbaa. What did you expect?
Yeah, I mean that didn't fit too well. I mean, nobody's going to be able to touch Timon and Pumbaa from the animated.
No,
I mean, those voices,
absolutely.
those are too iconic. And the other thing too is the villains in across the Lion King media, I think are very, very solid villains, like Scar, and then Zira.
Scar is number one.
I think that, I mean, Zira is pretty much a Scar repeat. I didn't think she really she doesn't really add much or like bring too much that Scar didn't. She had a decent villain song. I think she actually sounds very similar to Eartha Kitt, who played Yzma.
Yep.
I would kind of compare them a little bit, but I think that, I mean, like, those voices just all iconic. And I mean, I don't know. I really dug The Lion King 2 Simba's Pride. I really thought it was good. I thought like I said, the voices you're never going to touch. It's also kind of I just thought about this of course, this isn't an animated movie though, is it?
What exactly?
Let me look and see. I don't know if it's even Disney. I don't think it was Disney.
Which movie?
Oh, it was Disney. Look at that. Inspector Gadget. Look at that. It was Disney.
Yeah, but like we're not talking about live action, so.
But now I have to check this though, because that.
No, if you're talking about the original cartoon, no, it's not Disney.
So let's see when this movie came. So this movie, Inspector Gadget, came out.
I think the first one came out in the late 90s, and the second one came out in the early 2000s.
Okay, so Matthew Broderick had Simba before Gadget. Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to see which one came. Okay.
But basically, the one thing I have to mention, like, there's one movie, like I mentioned a character from that movie over and over again, but like I do have to mention just a little bit The Emperor's New Groove.
Yes.
Like that movie is so bonkers and hilarious. Did you ever watch The Emperor's New Groove TV show?
Yeah, I love how they break the third wall in that.
Oh my god, I love that. And also, you know what I love is that they fucking brought back the original voice actors for Krunk and Yzma.
Yes. Yeah.
For this, and this show was done, I think, like a year or a few months before the voice actors of Yzma died.
Yeah. Oh, and no disrespect to David Spade, who voiced Kuzco in the original movie.
Yeah.
But I thought J.P. Minox was much better as Kuzco. I think he fit much better. I think he had more of the spirit that they were trying to go for with Kuzco. So I kind of preferred his voice as opposed to David Spade.
I mean, for me personally, I would say it's a balance. Like, it's a 50-50 for me. Like, both of them were perfect in the role. Both of them.
And in case anybody doesn't know who J.P. Minox is, go look up Phil of the Future. Look at the principal in that and the caveman.
Nice. Good choices. But I will say this. The one thing, when it comes to Emperor's New Groove, I don't know if we're going to agree on both on that, but like, for the one Emperor's New Groove, there's one scene in particular that everyone remembers and everyone knows. And that is basically the night where Kronk is sleeping and he's like, the peasant at the diner, he didn't pay his check. And he basically falls asleep. And then basically he's like, he's the same guy I saw him disappear in the crowd with Kuzco in the back of his car. He must have returned back to his own village. We find the village, we find him, we find Kuzco. Oh yeah, it's all coming together.
Yeah.
Every time when I see that, like I literally kind of pee my pants every time when I see that scene. It is so utterly hilarious. Oh my god! So hilarious.
Oh,
Okay,
yes.
now before what? Go ahead.
The one thing that's kind of, and I mean, it would go over. It went over my head. I didn't even realize it till, I guess, a couple of years ago. The voice actor who plays Kronk and a lot of other characters, Patrick Warburton, he was David Puddy in Seinfeld.
Yep.
He is. I mean, he has a very monotone voice. He doesn't really have a voice that you can really play around with, I don't think. But his voice is just so hilarious. Like, it's the kind of voice that, like, you wouldn't think would be funny, but it actually is really, really funny.
Yeah, I oh my god, I do agree. I do agree on that. Oh my god. Yeah. Now I want to ask a question before we wrap this up. Uh, of all the like Disney animated movies, story wise, which one is your favorite? Story wise.
I think The Lion King.
Okay, fair enough.
Story wise, it flowed very well. It was, again, it wasn't. I wouldn't call it necessarily an original story because it was it was very much, I think, adapted from Hamlet, which I don't have a huge issue with. Because I mean, I think some of the best works are adapted from something else. I would say, I mean, I don't have numbers on this, but I would say the amount of stuff that's out there that isn't adapted from something else is probably very minimal. So I don't have a huge problem with that. I think the characters were good in it. I think there wasn't anything in the story that like just felt like it was there just because. It just all kind of worked.
Okay. For me personally, story wise, my most favorite Disney anime movie. This might be a shocker, but like story wise, my favorite Disney anime movie goes to Wreck-It Ralph.
Ooh, good one.
And the reason why is because even with Ralph Breaks the Internet, like they were so creative in that in that movie, like the overall world building, the characters, like the story itself, and the idea they had, everything. Like I would say this is like one of the most original ones I've ever seen.
You gotta wonder. I would love to see someday. I don't think they'll ever release it because some of it probably doesn't exist on camera. I would love to see some of the like storyboarding rooms and some of like the planning rooms for some of these movies. Like a movie we talked about earlier, The Great Mouse Detective. Like I can't imagine thought. Like, okay, so I like Sherlock Holmes, so let's take that and make all the characters mice. Like I can't imagine how like I don't know how you'd get like that train of thought. I don't know how you would get like Sherlock Holmes turning them into mice. I don't know how anybody would land on that. I'm glad they did. But like I don't know how like some of these ideas you'd actually land on.
Yeah, I mean, they're all also, speaking of that, like there are all sorts of like movies when it comes to Disney that are very underrated and very underappreciated. I mean, one of them also, speaking of animals, is also Robin Hood.
Oh yeah.
That movie also is very underrated and very also underappreciated as a movie. I mean, you had freaking Peter Ustinov as Prince John, and he was hilarious in that movie. He was perfect for the role. Oh my god, with that kind of like high-pitched comedic voice that he had, with that charm, like perfect. And also,
that just made me think. There is one Disney show. I wouldn't call it the worst, but I would call it a throwaway. And you mentioned just talking about that older movie just made me think of it. Pepper Ann.
Just give me a second.
Purple shirt, like reddish hair.
Let me think. Let me check. Oh my god, I remember this.
That's a little bit of a throwaway show. Like I watched it a little bit. I don't know.
Like one of my friends even one time told me that he wouldn't even watch the show even if he was high.
I don't know. I never got the idea with it.
I mean, seriously, like I will rather watch Phineas and Ferb rather than watching this.
Yeah, I never really got the idea with it. It just never made sense to me.
No. Now, although the style of it, kind of reminds me of Kids Next Door.
Yeah.
Although Kids Next Door for me personally is way more better than this one.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Yeah, but also, I mean, we mentioned this movie kind of, a little bit, but also one of the most underrated and underappreciated movies for me personally, is also, which I would even go as far as say when it comes to originality, and that is Atlantis: The Lost Empire.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
That is also a very original story. Because think about it, they just simply use the era, before World War One. They use the mythology around the Atlantis, and that's it. And basically, they create something out of it. They haven't used any fairy tale that already existed to create this movie. And
oh, I know the stop.
What?
I think the most underappreciated Disney movie. Watch it every year at Christmas time. I think it's probably, I don't know if I call it most underrated or most underappreciated. Muppets Christmas Carol.
Oh, can I add one more? Muppets Treasure Island.
Ooh, yes.
I'm gonna add that as well. To when it comes to Disney wise, and also Michael Caine did say that that's actually one of his favorite roles that he ever did, including even.
I still can't believe they had somebody like him in a Muppet movie.
And actually what he said, because a lot of people ask him like, what was your reaction? That basically you will share this movie with basically puppets, and you know what he said? He just simply treated the Muppets as like fellow actors, like normal people, and that's it. And Tim Curry, when he played Long John Silver in Muppets Treasure Island, Tim Curry himself did say that this is literally like one of his most favorite movies that he ever did as well.
See, what I love about those actors, just for those two movies alone, is they have a quality that I think actors should have, and I think they don't. I think a lot of actors take themselves way too seriously and think way too much of themselves. Michael, to be in a Muppet movie, there's no way you can think highly of yourself, and there's no way you can take yourself seriously. And I think that because they do that, that puts them in a class by themselves.
I mean, personally, because think about it, Tim Curry and Michael Caine are both professional actors.
Yeah.
Trained, I would say even go as far as say trained Shakespearean actors. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But the thing is, especially with Tim Curry, they also have a fun side. They want to be, in movies that are not taken seriously, basically. They want to just simply have a super fun time. And Michael Caine and Tim Curry being in two Muppet movies just simply proves my point. Just simply proves, I think, our point that these actors, in some capacity, they take themselves seriously, but in the same time, not that seriously.
Yeah.
And if I was an actor, I would be the same thing. Even I would choose sometimes bonkers movies, just for the fun of it. Because you can't just have every single movie to be an Oscar-worthy movie. Sometimes you need to have some fun movies. I mean, even even speaking of voiceover, in the old Disney anime movies, you had people freaking Peter Ustinov.
Yeah.
You had who else? Let me think.
Bobby Driscoll.
Yeah, you had Bobby Driscoll. Also, in the original Jungle Book, you had just give me a second. I always forget his name. You had George Sanders as Shere Khan, and again, he's a professional actor. You had him as Shere Khan. You had Peter Ustinov. You had Bobby Driscoll. You had so many well-known dramatic actors in those anime movies, which kind of proves the point that sometimes they would choose roles like that just for the fun of it. And I love that. I love that. And that's why.
Go ahead.
I just want to say, even that's why I would say I even love even more Keith David or Chris Pine, because they will choose roles like that just for the fun of it.
Now, before we wrap up, there is one actor spotlight I do want to spotlight. So Jafar, Jonathan Freeman, he is fantastic. But the other thing is with him, and a lot of people might not know this, there was a book, Life Animated, about this kid who had autism, Asperger's, and he kind of regressed a little bit and didn't talk, but then learned to communicate with those around him by watching Disney movies. Mm-hmm. And from what I understand, Jonathan Freeman was a huge influence on him. and like actually like took the time to meet him and sit down and talk with him and everything. So I have to give Jonathan Freeman a lot of credit there, working with the autistic community, reaching out to them, and just doing that. I got to give him major props for that.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. Yeah, I mean, I heard. I mean, I did heard that story before somewhere. Not exactly where exactly, but I have heard like those stories where Jonathan Freeman, was an inspiration for one this person. Perhaps like the same story as this one, but yeah, I mean, like Jonathan Freeman is also like, one of like also like a very peculiar actor. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
He's very peculiar actor, and even though like when sometimes you have like voice actors kind of like complaining that when they cast A-list actors voicing like cartoon characters basically, and I don't know, like I've seen one time I've seen like a Jim Cummings like a podcast that he's doing, and he was like with the guy who voiced Marty in Futurama. He also voiced Popeye one time. What's his name?
Marty. Is Marty the one with the orange hair?
Yes.
Billy West.
Yes, Billy West. Yes, I was talking about him. Basically, I just love like sometimes when they kind of like criticize A-list actors, voice or celebrities voicing characters. Like for example, he had a big problem with Tony Jay. In the past, even I feel like even I heard somewhere saying that even some voice actors, even like Jim Cummings and the rest, have had a problem with Jonathan Freeman as well. But overall, me personally, I had never had any problem, with any of them, but overall, but I do believe that some actors they are miscast in some projects.
Mm-hmm.
But so far, when it comes to like 95%, or I'm gonna go like 90% of the times, they freaking nailed them for sure. And yeah. I think like, sorry, I was I was like deep in my thoughts right now. I had like a timeout basically, but basically, yeah. I think that's a wrap. Don't you think?
Yep.
I mean, we're 2.5 hours into this. I think like this, so we could finally, relax a little bit.
Yeah.
After like 2.5 hours of talking and everything. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, all Disney fans out there, like animation, live action wise, sadly, like we came to a conclusion. We came to finally, to the finale of this Shadow Council episode. I hope you guys enjoyed. You guys, you know the drill. Comment.
Oh, it was a bunch of fun. It was a magical time.
Gosh, do we really believe that? I really don't know what to say. But overall, be too kind and just put all your comments down there. What do you thought of our discussion overall? But until then, see you guys next time. Goofy, well, Lord of Shadows, signing off.
It was a bunch of fun and a magical time.
Yeah.
No, I can't do that without laughing. Peace out.
Later, fuckers.